Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get together live here on Facebook where we take a look at the news from our city, from our state, and our country. We take a look at your comments, your ideas, your questions, all the things that bring us together to try to collect information that will empower us to have a more connected life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English speaking locals. Today is the last day of May. And today we are celebrating Puerto Vallarta's birthday, and we will talk about that in a little while. But before we get ahead of ourselves, welcome. If you are new to the broadcast and you would like to let us know that you are new, just write the word new in your comment and we'll give you a nice little welcome. And as always, if you have something truly important that you wish to share with us, please do so with a capital Q at the beginning of your comment. That way, we will make sure to look for that important comment, that important comment in our chit chat section in the second half of the broadcast. Today we are looking at important news that have to do with the celebration of our anniversary, both as a city and as a municipality. We also have important news that have to do with World No Tobacco Day. We have some news and updates about the changes that the law in Jalisco is going to implement regarding our safety as it relates to our use of taxis. And then we are going to also have some commentary about an issue that is very, very important to many, which has to do with the cat population on the Cuale Islands. So we have a little bit of everything, and I'm looking forward to it all. So we might as well get started. So let us start, of course, with our happy birthday to the city. Today, we celebrate our 104th anniversary as a city and our 54th anniversary as a municipality. Why do I think that's supposed to be the other way around? Hold on just a second. Oh, no, it's the other way around. My bad. It's 104 years as a municipality and 54 years as a city. It was as early as 1911 that those living in Las Peñas, as it was known at the time, presented a formal petition before the government of the state of Jalisco to be declared a municipality. This petition, unfortunately, went unattended for 2 years. And early in 1918, it was Governor José López Portillo y Rojas who sent a gentleman by the name of Leoncio Blanco from Guadalajara to Las Peñas to determine if the budding town was worthy of becoming a municipality. And it was on May 31st of that year, 1918, that Las Peñas became a municipality as Puerto Vallarta. Now, notable chronicler Catalina Montes de Oca had just arrived in town less than a month prior to this important date. And of course, we celebrate her because of her wonderful book, Puerto Vallarta, My Memories, which is available in English and Spanish, I might say. And she tells a very detailed account of these early years of our city. Now, fast forward to 1963, by the time John Huston came into town that year to film The Night of the Iguana, we were still just a town. We were not a city yet. It wasn't until 5 years later that it was decreed that the town of Puerto Vallarta would become a city, thus making it eligible for federal funds that would allow for the construction of things such as the international airport or an international airport, the conclusion of the Puerto Vallarta to Compostela highway, and the maritime terminal, among other important developments. So it is a very, very important date for our city. And as part of the official festivities, there will be a solemn commemoration that will be open to the public today at 7 p.m. in the central courtyard of City Hall, followed by cake. Cake furl. It's going to be a big cake, I can imagine. Later on in the evening, the folkloric dance troupe Vallarta Azteca will perform at Los Arcos Amphitheater, along with a mariachi, and there will be fireworks that will take place at midnight. Usually, these fireworks are pretty grandiose, so if you're into pyromania, you may want to take a look and stay awake. Needless to say, none of the above took place in the last couple of years due to the pandemic, so we should consider ourselves grateful for the fact that we're moving beyond COVID as a pandemic, at least for the time being. We still need to remain cautious, but we already know that. Then, as announced a few days ago, tomorrow Mexico celebrates the Day of the Marine. And a nautical parade will take place in the bay tomorrow that we can all enjoy from the Malecón starting at 11:30 in the morning. In addition, other cultural events yet to be announced will take place at the Los Arcos Amphitheater. Hopefully by tomorrow morning, we'll have more information to the effect. Now, we've mentioned a few reforms that the Jalisco government will be introducing to increase security as we ride local taxis and other platform vehicles. Just a few days ago, we announced a new app that will allow the decrease in conflict between taxis and other vans and private transportation methods. We also announced that some kind of QR code is coming to taxis in town that will allow you to keep track of many important details, such as the fact that the taxi is properly insured and the license plates and so forth and so on. What is becoming clearer, though, for many Uber and Didi drivers is that if their vehicles do not comply with the minimum specs required by the new laws, is that they could be out of a job unless they bring their vehicles and paperwork up to standard. So this is good news for us because we'll be riding in more secure, more trusty vehicles. But if the owners of those vehicles don't get their act together, we may end up with a shortage of units. According to this news note, it won't be until next month that further details will be revealed as to how all these new laws will come into effect and when. Now, today is also World No Tobacco Day. This is a yearly celebration introduced by the member states of the World Health Organization back in 1987 to draw global attention to the tobacco epidemic and the preventable death and disease it causes. And not only did the World Health Organization offer Mexico President Andrés Manuel López Obrador an award for his championing for his combating the tobacco epidemic here in Mexico, the president has signed a decree that forbids the sale, importation and distribution of vapors in Mexico. And he's even trying to go after smokers at the beach. That latter part is not official yet, but as of this morning, the sale, distribution, and importation of vapors and vapor-related accessories is illegal. Bummer. The Director of Public Transportation for the state of Jalisco, Amilcar Lopez, has announced that 35 additional public buses have been authorized for our city to complement the current fleet of 345, bringing the total number of buses to 380. Now, we don't have specific dates for when these new buses will arrive, nor do we know if they will have air conditioning or not, but there will be more buses. I suppose this is good news, but we have to wait until this actually happens. What has arrived, though, even though it didn't come to our coastline, is the first hurricane of the season, and concerns about debris left behind in the Río Cuale after all the work done to rebuild and repair after last year's Hurricane Nora are increasing. Needless to say, this is a race against time. It is not something new, and hopefully the government will get as much cleanup as possible done before the rains actually start arriving in our coastline. Speaking of, let's take a quick look at the weather just to see what we can expect for the next 3 days. Don't worry, meatbag. I won't use the weather to kill you. A sentient supercomputer's gotta have a code. Fair enough. I don't care to be killed by the weather today. What I do care about is the fact that we're enjoying 27 degrees right now. Feels like 28. Humidity is not as high as yesterday. It is only 58%. And our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 80. Our weather forecast for today says it's going to be a humid day, but we already knew that, with a high of 32 and a low of 21. Wednesday, that would be tomorrow, is going to be humid and partly cloudy with a high of 30 and a low of 22, which is still lower than where I like to put my air conditioning indicator when I stay at hotels. I like it at 24, but that's just me. Thursday, it'll be another humid day and partly cloudy as well, with a high of 29 and a low of 21. Hot and humid days are here. Who's got a swimming pool? Let's throw a party. Now, let me continue with one more headline that I wish to share for you, and this has to do with the Arte Vallarta Museum. They organized a First Saturdays at the Museum Shindig, which is a series of evening festivities that take place the first Saturday of every month, featuring food and live entertainment and much more. The next one is coming up this coming Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. The Arte Vallarta Museo is a nonprofit bilingual art center dedicated to expanding the local and international knowledge of contemporary and historical arts and culture in Puerto Vallarta. It sounds like a fun party to attend. And now let us talk a little bit about cats. Yesterday, I received this email message. Hola Paco, can you please help? We need to save the cats. Can you share? Now, what I was asked to share is a message that was posted in Puerto Vallarta Isla Cuale Activities, which is a Facebook private group, has 433 members. It's a fairly new a fairly new group. It was founded on February 2022. And of course, the message had to do with increasing concerns about the fact that the cat population on the Cuale is in danger, and newborn cats are being left at the isla, and some people are poisoning cats and so forth and so on. Now, I don't know anything about this new group, so I decided to do some research. Of course, it's private, so you have to apply for the privilege of entering. But I did learn some of their goals in their about page, out of which, aside from the fact that they provide information and discussion and volunteer opportunities, these are the ones that caught my attention. The group provides information, it promotes local isla businesses, it promotes isla preservation, and it promotes local leaders creating positive change for the isla. Now, here's the thing though. I moved here 20 years ago, and the issues with the quale and the cat population existed there, and they continue 20 years later, and not much has changed. So, to the person that sent me this email message, and to anyone that is concerned about the well being of the cat population in the Isla Río Cuale, I have a few probing questions that I would like to share. Number one, have you identified local business owners that feel a strong kinship with the island? At least one comes to mind. There's at least one local real estate agency that does cleanups on the island on a regular basis. Have you identified university biologists and other researchers currently invested in the island? I know at least one or two Cook University investigators that have been doing work on the island, and have you checked what they have to say about this very important issue? Have you identified current Puerto Vallarta council members that identify strongly with animal and or environmentally related causes? Let us remember that the council of our city is a very important, very powerful component of the way the city is administered by our mayor. It is the council that proposes things and votes for things to happen. So there must be at least one current council member that identifies closely with animal-related causes. I wonder if you know who that person is. Have you connected with neighborhood association leaders from nearby neighborhoods? Because they may not have as much decision power as council members, but they may already be invested in the island or what can be done there. Have you connected with local animal protection agencies to learn from their experience? There's the SPCA, there's the PER Project, there's a bunch of, or well, probably not a bunch, but there's a handful of local nonprofits that have been developing a rapport with the city for years about animal well-being, and I wonder if you have connected with them to learn from their experience. Have you compiled a directory of resources? People, agencies, nonprofits, etc., that deal with animal causes. I mean, if we look back at the About section of this Facebook group, you would think that they would have done all this and maybe even more. Now, what do all these entities have in common? All these entities are change agents, also known as an advocate of change, a person who acts as a catalyst for the change management. They help an organization, a city, to transform how it operates by inspiring and influencing others. And the reason I ask these questions is because as much as I'd like to receive these messages that are full of passion and concern, there's very little I can do from where I sit about these kinds of situations. There's very little anybody that publishes news for the English-speaking community can do. And I find it interesting and somewhat sad that, and I don't mean to generalize, that the English community or members of the English community are quick to point out all these things that are wrong in the city or that could be better. But when it comes to getting engaged and getting involved and participating as change agents, I wonder if it gets beyond putting posts on Facebook. And I'm sorry to burst the bubble. The problems, again, at the island have been happening for decades. and the government does not make decision based on posts on Facebook. So I don't mean to burst bubbles, but I just wonder if anything of the above has been done by those people that care tremendously about cats on the island. Now, I am a big cat lover. You know this, but that doesn't make me an advocate of change for cats or for the island. That's just not where my soul is. I give my Luna everything I can to keep her happy, and that's all I can do from where I sit. So to those people that send me notes about the island and messages to promote, I'm happy to share them, but I just wonder if you are doing your own homework. I'll leave that open right there, and I'll switch over to your comments just to see what you guys are thinking about everything in general and perhaps this issue in particular. I see a lot of good mornings, and that always makes me very happy. And I always say that, but I never get tired of saying it. Lots of good mornings, lots of good mornings. I'll be looking for cues in a second. Oh no, an African gray parrot is now saying Paco constantly. I feel flattered. Although there's many Pacos in this universe, so it could be about other Pacos as well. Does anyone know why your badges behind your name in postings quit showing? That's a Facebook issue. Unfortunately, I have no idea. Let's see what else we have. Jill comments, lots for you to see mañana on the water. Absolutely. For anybody that is out and about, there should be a lot of beautiful vessels out there. Let's see what else. Da 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 da. Dun, 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 dun. Charles asks, how long will the temporary stadium near the Naked Lady remain? I would imagine it's going to be torn down because it was, as far as I know, just put together for the anniversary of the city. But how wonderful it would be if I was wrong on that one. Thank you for that remark, Anna. Pretty in pink. The color of your t-shirt suits you well. Ryan has a big queue. I see a lot of posts about flying rescue dogs from Puerto Vallarta to Canada and Mexico on another PV-related Facebook group. I always wonder why we do this, since there are already plenty of dogs and cats in shelters in the U.S. that need homes. I understand the desire to help, but seems to me stray dogs and cats should be rehomed locally. Well, to each their own, Ryan. I think you are absolutely right. There are children that need to be adopted. And by children, I mean actual human children and otherwise. There are children that need to be adopted everywhere. Why people go through the trouble of adopting here and shipping or flying, rather, an animal elsewhere, I can only imagine that it happens because people have that choice and people choose to do that. So I would not hold that against anyone in particular. Anna has another cue. Cats are fine, but what about the RFC issue? What about it, Anna? I don't understand your question. Let's see. What about the RFC issue? What about it, really? Let's see what else. To rehome locally in the United States and Canada is almost always very expensive. For example, over $500 to rescue a dog from the BC SPCA. Wow, I had no idea. Thank you for that, Albert. It is not my intention in any way, shape, or form to burst bubbles about the cat issue. I just see a lot of people that are from elsewhere coming here and trying to change things without really understanding why things happen the way they are. No shade, but if you really want things to change, you have to get involved. And I think we are at the end of your comments. I hope Those of you that care about the island population did not feel threatened by my questions. But seriously, folks, if it is that important to you, you can exercise positive change from where you sit. Case in point, our dear friend Paul Christ, who has taken it upon himself to champion for the rights of trans people. He was very outspoken about this during the recent Gay Pride. And this is something that Paul does quietly year around. Why? Because it matters to him, and he's not Mexican. I mean, he's a foreigner, just like you. So if he can get involved and get things changed for the better, so can you. So think about that during the day, and let's get together again soon. Have a great day.